Good day, everyone, and welcome to Friday Fundamentals for May 18th, 2018. My name is Brent Hindman. I'll be taking you through today's session. Today's session is going to cover kitchen design, and we're going to start with a bare shell. We're going to go through some different scenarios, take a look at how you could use building options to a degree. We're going to take a look at finishes. We're going to add some electrical. We're going to take a look at how you can modify face layouts for your cabinets and so on. So sit back and enjoy for the next hour. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I would ask that you try to keep your microphones muted. Any microphones that are open will interfere with other people's enjoyment of the session, as they'll get feedback and so on. So if you could try and keep your microphones muted, I'd sure appreciate it. If not, I'll have to keep going over and turning them off myself. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Just a little bit of background into what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at a simple existing kitchen that may not be all that attractive to start with. And let's say you've bought the house or you've been in the house for a while, and you just need a fresh look. You want something a little more modern, maybe a little more contemporary. You want to get rid of what's there and start again. So I'm just going to zoom us back out here, and we're going to erase this note that I had sitting in the middle of our kitchen. So you can see we have a bare shell here. I'm just going to pop this up real quick. This is what we started with. Was you should be able to see this image. Very basic, 80s or 90s style kitchen. Nothing too fancy. Oak cabinets and plastic laminate tops. So, and the flooring might be a little bit horrendous. So, at some point, you want to just update your image. You want to get a little bit cleaner look, something a little more modern. I'm just going to pull up one that we're going to attempt to achieve here. There's a good one there. So this is just an image that I ran last weekend, something a little more contemporary. We're going to start with the bare shell. We're going to start by adding in our lower cabinets in this area over here. We're going to add some tall cabinets. I'm going to show you how to modify the face layouts to accommodate some built-ins. We're probably not going to put this in because this unit actually has a microwave. When I did this, I didn't realize that. I thought it was two oven setup, but it actually has a microwave. So we're going to leave that second one out, just do that as a pantry. We're also going to do a built-in refrigerator over here with a rather tall cabinet above it. Take a look at how you can do backsplashes, whether it's a wall finish that we put in, or whether it's we could do it as a solid, or we can do it as a tiled backsplash across the back here. All right, we have a hood, we have some pendant lights dropped in, and we have a waterfall countertop on our island here, which is a nice large island, great for entertaining. Okay, so as you can see, a big improvement over what we had here. We're going to try and achieve this look when we're all done. Okay, the image quality may not be quite there with what we have time to generate in class today. What we have here is what we call a path trace. It's a ray traced image using the path trace lighting, which means that it took about 1,000 passes on this particular image, and so it ran Friday into Saturday of last week. I'm not sure when it finished up. It's not a very large image, so it probably didn't take that long, but you can see the quality that you get out of that with the reflections and so on. I might touch on that a little bit later as we get into some of the different modes. But that just gives you an idea of how soft the lights can look and so on when you're all done, and how clean the image can look with reflections and textures appearing correctly. All right. We're also going to take a look at some of the different options you can do just from that layout. Very similar layout again, and we can change the finish on those cabinets, make them gray. We can change the countertops to white, and you can see the transformation that you achieve just by making changes like that. A little bit of difference in the furniture and so on. And you can also do your white cabinets there. Again, this is a fairly low quality image that I just generated very recently, and just gives you an idea of same cabinets. We didn't have to redraw the cabinets, but we can easily go in and modify the finishes so that you can give the client choices. And that's what it's all about nowadays, is they want choices. They want to know that you've explored all different options for them and not just given them one scenario to pick from. So we have all these abilities built into the program. You can obviously use the building options as well to set up different appearances. So I could literally draw this layout we're going to draw now. I could put it on a specific building option, turn that building option off, and then redraw the kitchen again on a new building option. So when the client comes in, I can say you can have this one or this one. I could do 3 or 4 different layouts and just flip them on and off as you choose. All right, so that's what the power of building options is. Building options are found under Model and Building Options. I have a few of them assigned here already. The default is where you typically draw, and if you look, you can see that you have a number of items up there already at 970. By default, we've put furniture on its own building option, so it can be toggled on and off. It can also be done with layers for something like furniture that's not counted in your material takeoff. It's more for a 3D aesthetics look. You can put demo items on the building option, so if you had to remove walls, that kind of thing, you don't have to erase them, but you can put them on another layer or building option, sorry, and turn them off. Okay, we're going to be working in the classic contemporary building option that I set up here. When you go into Model building options, you can easily come in here and change these just by rewriting over top of these. So that's already been done for us here, so I'm going to use this one. Now, if you're accessing the current building option, sorry, I just need to move my GoToMeeting dialog, so if you wonder what I'm doing, that's all I was doing. You can see your current building option listed here. You can also access them and make them current. You can turn them on for visibility. You can lock them as well. So if there's something you want to do, you set up a building option and you don't want it to be able to be modified in any way, you can set it to lock. So it means it cannot be modified. All right. You can even fade it to the background so it doesn't show up as full on the screen as an unfaded building option. All right. Something we typically do with our furniture is we fade it on a layer so that when you're looking at the drawing, you see the drawing, but you can also see the furniture kind of popping in there. All right. All right, so to get started, we're going to have Classic Contemporary selected, and I'm just going to pick OK on that. And we're going to start by drawing some cabinets in. Given that we have a corner scenario here, we're going to start drawing in the corner. If you are just doing a galley kitchen, you're going from one end to the other. It's not going to wrap in the corner. You can just start with your basic standard cabinets. So when we go to the Draw menu at the top, on the ribbon bar, you see Cabinet. And cabinet pulls down. You have manufacturer options there. We've put in a number of manufacturers for you to feed from. We are constantly looking for new ones and adding new options to this list. But right as it is, we have Aristocraft, Armstrong, Decora, Dura Supreme is a fairly new one, Echelon, Kitchen Craft Made, Medallion, Marilat is one of the first ones put in there, Mid-Continent, Schrock, and Wellborn. So we will add more as more become available to us. They are fairly large libraries, the majority of these. A lot of them won't be of any use to you unless you actually know the codes for them, in which case you probably have a catalog or you have some access to that information. You can tell a lot by the names generally, by width and depth and shape when you're looking at the previews, but it would benefit you to know what you're looking for. So when we're drawing in here, just to give you an idea, if there was an oven or pantry type cabinet that I wanted, Armstrong is one of the ones that actually has their libraries named quite clearly, and it's not hard to figure out their codes. So if you wanted to put in an oven cabinet, you can slide down in here. You can see the 3D. You can even spin around in the 3D. So you can see you have drawers, an open area with rails, top and bottom, that could likely be sized accordingly to the oven that you want to put in. And then you can also get into your bookcases, pantries, which are full height, tall cabinets, basically, your utility cabinets, and so on. These are all tall cabinets. Base cabinets being, as they sound, the ones that sit on the floor that your countertop would typically be on top of. Your vanity cabinets, a little smaller, a little lower. And then your wall cabinets, anything that's wall mounted or hung on the walls. Okay. So they could stack as well, but typically they're the ones hung on the wall. All right. So as we draw them, you're going to see very similar naming. If we wanted to draw our own, we have base, desk, tall, vanity, and wall. Okay. Desk just being that, it doesn't go down to the floor. It's like a base cabinet without a bottom. All right. So this is how we draw individual cabinets. If you go down further down on the list, you'll see auto cabinet. Auto cabinet is for those of you who don't necessarily design a kitchen, so not what you're doing today, but you like to show it on the floor plan so that the client knows where the kitchen is and the desired layout of the kitchen, but you don't need to dig down deep and actually pick the shape or the sizes of each of those different cabinets. You basically want to show this is where your base cabinets are, this is where your peninsula is, this is where your wall cabinets are, and then send them off to a cabinet manufacturer or designer to finish that up. And they'll use whatever software they use. They could be using SoftPlan, they could be using something else, but that gives them the piece that they need. It could be that you're just showing them where that is, and then you're going to come back in with them and draw an actual kitchen as detailed as much as they'd like it. So it's like a placeholder then. So it allows you to get the basics drawn and quickly and easily. All right. Countertops, those are for freeform countertops. We may have a chance to take a look at that today as we look at our island in the middle of the kitchen. If you want a countertop that doesn't just follow the outside edge of the cabinets, you would use a freeform countertop, in which case you have a little more freedom with it. All right. You can add cabinet handles, and you can also elevate your cabinets. Elevating the cabinets isn't as big a deal anymore because, as we're going to see a little later, we're going to use interior elevations to see the elevations of our cabinets, and it shows us a lot more than just the cabinets. It shows us everything on that wall. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to click on base. In the configure cabinet dialog, now if you go back and look at any of the videos prior to today, you are going to see some slight differences. In version 2018, like we are using today, there have been some changes to how we display the cabinets. We're constantly making changes to the program. Obviously, there'll be more changes as we come out with a new version, but throughout the course of 2018, we have made some changes to cabinets for the better, and we will see it when we go and take a look at the different cabinet styles, the faces, that you have a more graphical interface now so you can see what you want. You can still dig down and you can search on specific items, but this gives you that tool. So as you can see in here, there's a product code box up in the top. You remember when we went to draw a cabinet, you could see that there was manufacturers there. That's one way to access them. You can also access them from here by checking the product code and then going into Armstrong and then going into Tall and then picking the one you want from there. So the option is there as well. Okay, so once you've gone in to draw a cabinet, you're not locked down. You can still get to everything. All right, but we're going to go to plan cabinet. We're going to pick a base type. Generally, I start on the floor, and then I work up. We're going to pick a shape from here. So we can start with standards. You have diagonal corners and corners. When you get into the corners, you'll have the option to make it an unequal leg, so like a blind corner cabinet, that sort of thing. You have half round ends, 45 and 30-degree angles. You have fillers. That's what the fill is. End corners at 45 and 30. You have back panels, end panels, quarter rounds, angled front, angled end, and a chamfered corner. So different cabinet shapes. And if you click on them, you'll see what they look like in plan. Don't get distressed over the face preview. It likely is picking up two drawers in this case, because that is the standard that is being used on the side. So it got applied to that edge as well. Not that you're stuck with that, it's just what the preview is popping up for us. So you can come in here, and we're going to start with a corner cabinet. Okay, and we're going to pick next our face layout. So I don't want a two drawer flat. I want to pick a single door because it is just a corner cabinet, and there's two small doors there, and I don't want a drawer because that just wouldn't work. So this is where it is different in SoftPlan 2018, the more recent updates to it. I'm just going to make this dialog a little bigger so you can see what we have here. It used to be that when you came into here, you were confronted with this dialog, which is just coming up now, which allowed you to go in and pick the number of doors and the number of drawers, and then we would delineate that, a list for you from that. The problem being each of these are just names that you would have to then sort through, and you will see them, but you had to click on them to see the differences. What we've done is we've put that all on a dialog so you can see what you have there, and you can still go into the search mechanism and dig down a little deeper and find what you need from there. So just to let you know, that search box in here is still there. It's just that it's one layer deeper now. Hopefully you find what you want right here. And if you don't, what you do is you can populate these libraries as you like. So right now I'm sitting in standard. We've put in specialty some of the more detailed, more complex designs that we find mostly with manufacturers. Not something you would likely build yourself, but something that you would dig down and you'd find in a manufacturer's catalog. So that's what the specialty is, and that can be found under any of the different shapes. So you have your standard tall, vanity, and wall, and they all have specialty built in underneath them. That's a fairly long list, especially under base, as you can see. But that's not to say you can't come in here and find them. So if I want a 3-door, I can pick those up. If I want a 3-door left or right, I can pick up the ones I want from there. All right. So we are going to go back to standard, and given that this was a corner cabinet, getting way off topic here, I just want a single door. So I want a single door, as we would call it, a 1-door cabinet. Okay. So this is the cabinet face, and I'm going to pick OK. So that means that that's going to be applied to both of these. We will put a handle on one of the 2 doors because it's likely a hinged door that opens up as one. Okay. All right. So the width 36 inches. So it's 36 inches this way, 36 inches that way, 24 inches deep. The height is 34.5. That means that we're going to add an 1.5 inch countertop on top of it to take us up to an even 36 inches. Offset is 0 because it's sitting on the floor. Okay, so your cabinets will be relative to the floor system, so you don't need to worry about how thick the floor system is or anything like that. And this is where you can play with the unequal legs if you want to make it a blind corner. So you go with 24 and 36, that sort of thing. All right, I'm going to leave that unchecked and just go with it the way it is. We can leave this dialog open. I'm just going to pull it off to the side, click anywhere in that corner. Given that it's a corner cabinet, it knows where its 2 backs are, and it will try to fit into the corner. It will try to fit into the corner and find the drywall as well. So you'll see a gap there. That is to allow for the drywall. All right, moving along from there, I'm just going to grab my layout here, and we are going to then add in a 42-inch cabinet beside it, and we can come back in here, and we're going to go to base. I'm going to change this over to a standard cabinet, just a straight cabinet. I certainly don't want a 1-door cabinet in here, but I could go in and find 3-door cabinet would fit nicely in this spot. So I could go into search, and this is a good time for us to change this to, say, 3+ and maybe 3 drawers as well. Okay, so there we go. It came up the first one in the list, but when I've put in that criteria, it came up with a 3 flat drawer face. Okay, so when you see drawer flat, that means that the face of the drawer is just one plane, as opposed to recessed, which looks like this door. Okay, it has stiles and rails, and then a flat panel in behind it. Okay, so I'm going to go with the flat drawers and the square flat panel doors on this one. I'm going to pick OK. So there it is. And we're just going to drag this off. Oh, sorry, I touched the edge of my screen. I'm actually just going to pick, and go back and select it again. 3 and 3, and flat drawer type, standard door type, pick OK. There we go. And I'm just going to pick OK. And now when adding cabinets next to another cabinet, as long as you're about half the width of the cabinet along, close enough that the edge is within about 6 inches of the last cabinet, we will snap them together nice and neat for you. You don't need to work too hard to get that to work. All right, now I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to change this over to a 3-drawer cabinet. So I am going to go to, say, my search in this case. I'm going to take the doors down to nothing, and I'm going to put in 3 drawers. So I'm going to do a standard 1-2 drawer flat, meaning it's a 1 and then 2 drawers the same size. And I'm going to pick OK on that. And I'm going to pick OK again. And I believe when I drew the last one, I put it in the wrong width. I want to go back and change that. So I'm going to draw this one in at 36 and drop it in. I'm going to edit this cabinet. Now, if you're having trouble picking them, if you know roughly the area, once you edit it, it will highlight. Otherwise, you can explode the cabinet run. Be sure it will only explode once, not twice. All right. I'm going to make that 42 inches and pushes it out. And it's going to expand it in both directions, in which case it's easily fixed. You just move it along to here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, half an inch, hit the home button, and I'm exactly a half inch away again. All right. So now what we're going to do is go back to draw, and I'm going to pick on select. I'm going to pick on that first cabinet again, which is 42 inches now, and drop it in there. And we can check to make sure that we are correct on that. So it's a width of 42, depth of 24, 34 and a half high. Okay, so we're good. And I'm going to pick OK on that. And let's just take a quick look at what we have, just so we can see how we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up an interior elevation of this face. So when you're drawing an interior elevation marker, you simply click once to place the marker and then once to position the direction that you want to actually face. Okay. All right, now, when we're looking at this interior elevation, it's going to go all the way across the room. So if you don't want to see the entire room, you want to kind of zoom it in a little bit better, just adjust the red dash line shorter so that it encompasses what you want to see. We're going to go a little bit beyond this with a refrigerator cabinet at the end here, probably an open cabinet with a built-in refrigerator built into it. So we're going to use that. Now, when I'm over on the left-hand navigation bar, if I look down, I should see an interior elevation number 1 showing up here. And if I double-click on that, it's going to ask me if I want to save my changes. I do, because I want to see what I've drawn so far. And in it goes. It's going to take you into a shaded view. So it's just not a monochrome, but it's going to show you a colored view of the drawing without all the textures applied to it. But it gives you a really good idea of what you're working with in here. So the thing you can remember is that you can also draw in this view. So if you're more comfortable working in elevation, which a lot of people are, I think more so now than before, if you don't really think you need to be in plan to do the work, you can work in this realm. So if I wanted to put in a wall cabinet, for instance, and I want to put it over on this left-hand side, I can come in here and I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it 43 or 44 inches. I'll make it 43 just to house the 42-inch refrigerator. And doing this from memory here. Since we don't have the refrigerator drawn yet, but once we do get it in there, we can also modify things and manipulate it. So if all I want to do is just put a cabinet above the refrigerator and nothing more, no gables on the sides or panels on the sides, I could just draw a wall cabinet above it, in which case I can make it the width I want. In that case, I probably only make it 42 inches to match the refrigerator, but I'm going to make it 43. It's going to be a custom cabinet. I'm going to make it 24 inches deep, so it comes all the way out to the front. I'm going to make it 18 inches high, and I'm going to make its top height 102 inches to get it way up there, which gives me an offset of 84. So thing to remember when you're entering numbers in here, and I've done this numerous times myself, I go in and I set the top height, but I didn't change the height of the cabinet. So it literally takes the cabinet and it moves it up and down, which is great for wall cabinets. It's not so great on a tall cabinet because it kind of messes with the positioning of it vertically. So you want to make sure that you have your height and your top height correct, so that we're not setting your cabinets through the floor or suspending them where they shouldn't be. Okay, so I'm going to pick, I'm just going to move this off the side, and you can see it's already lining up, and I'm going to drop that right in there. And if we come back into our floor plan, you can see that it's been drawn in there for us already. So if I edit this cabinet here, jumping a little bit ahead here, but you can see that we have a countertop line drawn out to the side there, and that's going to interfere into this cabinet space. So you can come into your countertop option. Now, as this cabinet is laid out, the front is obviously out here. This would be the left, and I could change the left to 0 inches, which will knock the countertop off at that point. All right, I'm going to take us back into the interior elevation again, and we're going to edit this. And I'm going to pull up the edit and go to the wall cabinet options here. Actually, going to go to the face. And we can then come in, sorry. I'm going to go into custom face layout just so you can see what we're doing here. There's a checkbox there. It allows you to edit the custom layout. So this is only going to happen in this one spot. But if I wanted to turn this into a cabinet that has sides on it, like an open cabinet, I can actually add a part to this. And don't worry about where it goes. It might go in the wrong spot initially, but you can then change it as you need to. So I can say, I'm going to put an open cabinet underneath it and pick OK. The other way to do this would be for us to actually add false gables on each side, like a filler on each side. It's another way of doing it. The way I'm showing you here, we'll put it back in the cabinet, which may not be what you want. It will suffice for what we're trying to achieve here, but it does allow us to put a crown mold on top of it as one cabinet, whereas the fillers don't really take the crown mold the same way. So what you can do then, once you get them in place, now you can reorder them. So the little dots on the left-hand side here, you just pick up on those with your left mouse button, and you can drag to reorder any of the cabinets that you have here. This isn't the only time we're going to look at this. We will come back in and take a look in a few minutes. All right. Now the open cabinet, I'm going to change its height to 80.5 inches and pick OK. And I need to change its height still. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to go to the wall cabinet, and I'm going to make its height 102 inches. There we go. So it didn't have its height already, so now it does. And I'm going to make the, if we come back into our 3D, which is over here, I already had the tab open, and so you can see it here. You can see that we have our cabinet already set up for us to place our refrigerator right in. It has the end cabinets on it. We may still need to modify a little bit, but I'm going to move along now and draw the cabinets on this other wall, and then we're going to come back and fill this area in. Then we'll come back in a little bit later and start filling in with different appliances at the end. All right, so what we're going to do is come back into our drawing state again, and I'm going to add in one drawer base here just to get us a little bit out of the corner so that we're not crowding the corner too much. We want to have access to that area. So we're going to go to draw. I'm going to go back into cabinet. I'm going to go back to base, and this time it's going to be a standard base, and it's going to be a 3 drawer. So I'm going to do I'll do this one. That'll be fine. Pick OK. And I'm going to make it 18 inches wide. So we've got some preset widths already set up in here for you. I didn't save my preset widths are all set at 3-inch increments, just like your cabinets would be. So it allows you quick access to those. Okay, so that's going to draw in there. And then we're going to start moving through with an oven cabinet. And beside that, we're going to drop in a pantry. So the next thing I'm going to do is change this over to tall cabinet. I'm going to change the height on these to 96 inches. There we go. And we're going to choose, I'm going to pick one, and then we're going to go in and I'm going to modify the face with you so you can actually see how you can pick different designs or setups for these. So we're going to do a 2-door, which means 2 doors top, 2 doors bottom. And I'm going to pick that one and pick OK. And we're going to make this one 30-inch wide. So I'm going to just slide down to 30. And we're going to basically come into this cabinet. We're going to take out the doors on the second one and modify the face to allow us to place in our ovens into this region. All right, so we're going to start with a 30-inch wide. I'm going to make the depth 24 inches, the full depth of the cabinets beside it. And it's 96 inches high. We should be good. Always go back and check your information, make sure you got what you want there. You can change it later, but if you can get it right the first time, all the better. So I'm going to drop one in there, then I'm going to drop one right beside it. All right. And while we're here, I'm going to go into my model. I'm going to go to interior elevation, and here I'm going to drop in a marker right there, and I'm going to adjust it shorter as well. And then we can take a look at that elevation quickly and easily. It's right there. And save your changes as you go into that view. And there it is. All right. So here's the cabinets on the other wall. We're cut through them right now. There's the bank of 3 drawers. Here's our 2 pantry cabinets, basically. And what we're going to do now is come in and modify this one to have a different face on it. So what we're going to do is edit it. And I'm going to come in. And I'm going to go to the face tab. I'm going to go to the custom face outlet layout. Sorry. I'm going to click on the bottom one, and I'm going to remove it. So we're left with just doors, one set of doors. Nice part is these doors already have their handles at the bottom. If you happen to get doors with the handles at the top, and you know you're 5 foot nothing tall, and you got 8 foot tall cabinets, that's going to make it really tough to open those cabinets up. So that's what the vertical or reverse vertically does for you. It just reverses the handles from top to bottom. Okay, so we want them at the bottom because this is going to be the upper half, which could be a pantry or something along those lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some parts in here. We're going to add a drawer in, and we're going to add in a 40. We're actually going to add 2 drawers in and a 43-inch open cabinet. So I'm going to go add part, and I'm going to add in, I'll do the drawer first, pick OK. And I'm going to go to drawer again, pick OK. I'm going to add part one last time, and this time I'm going to go open cabinet, which is where our ovens are going to sit, and I'm going to pick OK. Now this is great if you know the exact size of the appliance you're going to slide in there. Otherwise, when you're in add part, you can see that we also have a rail. So when I'm working vertically, which I am right now, if you look up in the top right corner, it says vertical. I will have rails, meaning they go horizontal across. So as you looked at those other oven cabinets, they had kind of like scribing panels that you can cut out to fit the appliance a little better if you need to. You get the one that's close, and then you have some room to work with it. If you're going horizontally, so I can literally make up cabinets that go stacked beside each other as well, then I would have stiles available to me. So rails when they go horizontal, stiles when they run vertically. Okay. So we are totally messed up as far as our layout here. We need to reorganize this a little bit to get them in the right space. So the double doors need to go to the top. We know that much. We are going to put the drawers at the bottom and then the open space. The double doors are going to fill the remaining space. So that means that their height is scaled to fit the height that we have left over. But the other two pieces I want to set up. Now the preview isn't going to show this perfectly, so just bear with me. You won't see the doors after we start pushing this information in, so you do have to do a little bit of math. And we're going to go 8.5 inches, and we're going to go 8.5 inches. I didn't pick fixed yet, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here, typing away. So 8.5 and 8.5, and then 43. And then we have our doors above that. You just don't see them in this preview. So when we come back out, you should see it. I'm just going to make sure we have everything we want. We want flat drawers at 8.5 inches. We want a 43-inch cabinet opening, and then our doors should be above that. If we do all the math, we have 17 and 43. Okay, so that will push this up to where we want it. We can actually edit this one if we wanted to as well, and you can modify the sizes of the doors, that kind of thing. So you can come in here and you can modify the bottom doors to be fixed at say 60 inches, something like that, and see if that matches up. Hey, my math was good. All right. We are now going to we can try to add in our oven at this point if we wanted to see if it fits correctly. I'm not one to typically draw in this mode, but I'm just going to find the name of the one that I wanted to add in here for you. I believe it is the yeah, it was the Gen Air wall oven. So it's a 30-inch combination microwave wall oven, and it's in the Gen Air SoftPlan Plus Gen Air folder. So when you're in here, SoftPlan, we try to add as many symbols as we can to our libraries for you. It's a big part of what we do. We are constantly adding new things. As SoftPlan Plus subscribers, you also benefit from getting more of the new stuff as it comes out. You have more libraries of symbols, you have more openings, you have more textures, you have all kinds of stuff that just isn't part of the original installation. So what you're going to find is that if you're in looking at manufacturers, you will see a good list that we have there, but you're also going to see a SoftPlan Plus box, and there's going to be a whole other list of information there that you can pick from. The thing to remember is that when you start adding things from SoftPlan Plus, you need an internet connection, and we don't populate those folders until you click on them, and that's when we go to the server and we grab all that information for you, and then it gets added in. So you want to make sure that you are connected, and that's when we start adding the stuff in for you. So we are going to go to the Gen Air, and I'm going to go to the wall ovens, and it's going to be this one will work. Actually, this is the one we had. And pick OK. And I'm going to drop it right there. And I totally expect this to sit on the floor. That's where it's told to sit. It doesn't know that I put a hole in the cabinets for it. It's going to find that out in a minute as I move it up and into place to where I want it. Okay. And it is roughly 1 foot 8 up that it's supposed to sit. So we're pretty close just by doing it there. You can then edit this and you can modify it to be an exact dimension up from the floor if you choose to at that point. Okay. Same thing with this countertop. We can chop that out if we needed to. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But coming back in here, we're at about 20 minutes left, and I want to get some wall cabinets drawn in, finish our cabinets off, and just show you how you can pick some different finishes and throw some lights in here. So I'm going to move along a little bit now and add in some wall cabinets into the corner. So we're going to go back to Draw Cabinet, Wall, and we're going to go to Corner again. This time it's going to be a 24-inch corner cabinet. Actually, no, I'm just going to make this 36 to get us moved along. Typically, I put a 24, a 50, or a 12, and then the remaining cabinets beyond that, just to get us going here. I'm just going to drop that in there. And then I'm going to drop in a standard cabinet. Just a standard, and we're going to go with 18 inches. So that's what we had beside this. Drag that off the side. We can drop one in there. And then we're going to drop in a 42-inch wide. So I'm going to type that in because it's not one of the sizes that we have available already. You can see that it adds in the ones you've typed in as one of the last choices, but then all the other ones are preset for you. Right? And we can just, I'm going to change this one over to be a specialty. Actually, I'll just let's do a search. And let's do 3 doors. And that's good. And I'm going to pick OK. And we're just going to drop that one in right there. And then I'm going to move up and I'm going to drop one over here as well to give us room for our range to go in the middle there. And with that done, I'm going to pop us back into the 3D real quick. And you can see what we've achieved here. And we can easily come back in and modify these to be taller cabinets if we wish. So I could come back in and change their heights and so on right in here. I can change that to 42 inches. I can set the top to 96 to match up with the other wall cabinets that are around the corner there. And when I've done that, I can then pick repeat edit and make that same change to the others so that they pop up to match. All right. I can also come into these now and I can edit this one, for instance, and go to the face of the cabinet. And this is where you can come in and you can modify the doors. If you've drawn the one, not the one that you want, you can put in glass grill. So, and pick OK. OK. And I should be able to repeat that change. If not, it's easily done to edit those back in. But it did. The repeat edit just picked up just fine and did that for us. All right. So with that done, we're going to draw in our island next. So I'm going to go to the floor plan again, and we're going to draw in a couple cabinets here using the individual cabinet method again. So we're going to go to base, and we're going to go to base, standard, and in this case, I'm going to just pick a standard old 2-door one. That's a flat sink. Anytime you see sink, it's a non-operating drawer. It's a sink base, so it's just a false front. So I want a flat. That's the one I want. No, we'll just go with that. We'll just go with this one. And just need to move that out so I can get to my OK button. There we go. And we're going to pick OK. And I'm going to draw a couple of these in. So I'm going to start in here. Oh, yeah, back that out real quick. I didn't change my width on that base cabinet, and I want to get that to a 24-inch cabinet. So I'm going to drop in 1, 2. I'm not worried about the fact that they're a little close to the other cabinets at this point. I'm going to come back in and fix that in just a moment. And we're going to go back to cabinet again. This time, just change that up to a 36-inch. And then a 24. And a 24. Then we're going to go back and we're going to change our depth to, say, 18 inches. And I'm going to change my face to a full 2 doors. and no drawers. I don't want any drawers on it. Click OK. OK. And we're just going to drop these in like so, and change this one to 36, and it should fit perfectly in the middle. Pop. There we go. All right. So now we have our island. I made those ones a little shallower because I'm going to have a breakfast bar over this side here, so it's going to overhang a bit. So it's just going to be full doors, no drawers, so that you can access them underneath the breakfast bar area there. So once you get this placed, you can add your dimensions in, and you can just double click on that. I can make that 3 foot 6 inches, move that over to the side. Same thing here. And move that up. And in it goes. Oh, these ones hadn't cleaned up yet, so I'm just going to back that out. And I'm just going to do a quick cleanup, make sure those are bound. There we go. And we're going to try that dimension again. And now they're moving as one, which is much better. All right, so once you've done all that, you can edit your cabinet. You can go into the countertop options in here, and you have all the different overhangs. So on this case, this is the front of this, and we want to change the front to say 16 inches, pop it out over the front edge there for us. Okay, so looking at back in the 3D, now you can see that you have your, just moved into a wall there. There we go. I'm just going to swing us out into the, there's a corner right in that corner, sticking in right at that point. So with the countertop drawn, you can easily come in now, and you can also edit the countertop. There's different options available to you in here. So on the countertop, you can put in waterfall left and right, which will bring the countertop down to the floor on either side. And we can start adding some of our other items into here. So we're going to, I'm just going to drop back into the plan really quick and go to symbol. And the refrigerator we're going to put in here is also a Gen Air. So I'm going to pop us back into the refrigeration in here and just pick the 42-inch. This one here, I believe. Drag that down. Remembering you can leave this open while you're working in it. And the other thing to remember is if you turn on F11, it's the same as hitting the snap option up here, the fourth icon on your toolbar. It allows you to find the center of items and drop them in. So sometimes this makes life a little bit easier, and you can see on our preview down here that it has drawn a refrigerator in for us. And we're going to then go and find our stove, which is a Thermador. So I'm going to find that not in SoftPlan Plus. This one is available outside of the Plus libraries. So it'll be down below in the Thermador. There it is. And in the cooktops. And I've just got the X36 365S, I believe, drawn there. I'm just going to move this off to the side just for a moment, and I'm going to snap here to draw that. This will automatically sit on the countertop. I'm going to show you a different way of drawing a sink. You can draw them right on the countertop, obviously, but there's also the option that if I edit right there, I'm going to edit this cabinet. You'll see that I picked the right one. So it's a 36D. I can change the face of this to be a proper sink base as well. That would be part of the face, so I could come back in here and I can call this a 2-drawer flat sink drawer for one thing. But I can also come back to the base cabinet and I can add a sink, first of all. And the sink I want to add in here is going to be a Kohler K6534. So I know the number, so why don't I just type it in, and it comes right up, and I want the -3, so it pops that right in for me. All right, and I pick OK. While editing that again, I can come back in. I want to edit the sink, or the cabinet, sorry. So I'm going to right-click in that area. I got the wrong one, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to pick cabinet and edit. I got the right one now. and I'm going to add my tap in, and the tap that we're going to add in is the it's out of the Hansgrohe libraries. So I'm going to type in Axor, which will limit my search somewhat. And it's a Soterio. And that gets us a pretty good view of what we want. And I know that it's this one here. It's a semi-pro faucet, and I pick OK. And that will drop that in for me. Then you can move them around, do whatever you need to from that point forward. The other thing to take note of is the kitchen sink that I did put in here is a farmer sink or an apron sink. So I do need to move it forward a little bit just to get it out in front of the cabinet, because the sorry, I meant to move. I picked adjust by accident. So I'm just going to move it out proud of the front of the cabinet there to cut through the countertop and leave that hole. So now when I go back into my kitchen view, you can see what we have drawn there. And that's the view that we want to see right there. All right. So with that done, I'm going to take a quick look at drawing in. Sort of coming short on time now. I will go a little bit over time, and if need be, to get this done, but we want to stick pretty close to the hour because I know it's Friday and you probably have things to do. So we're going to go to symbol next, and the last thing, I just want to put a wall-mounted canopy hood. So I'm going to go to canopy hood, and I'm in electrical. Sorry, I need to pick electrical. I meant to pick symbol. Try that again. That shows you my typing skills. I look at the keyboard constantly. Canopy. There we go. And we are going to go with the Thermador, or no. It's in the KitchenAid library, sorry. Looking at the wrong thing here. There it is. I'm going to pick OK, and I'm going to drop it in right there. Now, it can be edited. Now, it may not look perfect, but we have a fairly high ceiling in here, as you can see. So my hood's way too high. Knowing that if I edit the symbol, I am going to distort it slightly. Accepting that, you can come in here and you can make this like 4 foot 6 inches, which is just going to mean that the angles are going to be distorted slightly coming down. It's not as flat an angle as it should be. But if you're not concerned about the exact symbol that's being drawn, you just want a hood there, that's fine. On a typical ceiling height, this one would fit just fine too. It would not be an issue at all. So if we come back in here, now I'm just going to zoom out. And you can see that when we draw symbols, we draw them right back to the wall. So you may want to move your cooktop a little bit farther forward. Something else we can do is go into our cabinet, and I'm going to edit the cabinet, and I'm going to go to the countertop, and we can add a nosing to the countertops. You can put beveled edges on them. You can put it on just the front, or you can put it on all the edges, that kind of thing. So on all edges for something like an island would be ideal. Okay. We can also go into our accessories, and we can do a tiled backsplash in behind it. So I could go to, say, stone tile 2. I can make the height, say, 3 foot 6 inches, something like that. So it's going to take it up to the hood. It's going to go in behind our cabinets as well, but it gives you an idea. There's another way of doing this. If you go into your interiors, you can also draw in a new material on your wall there, much like we would do with paint or a tile in a shower, that kind of thing. Okay, so if we go back into our 3D, you should see that we now have that tiled backsplash running up. I took it a little higher than I needed to, but it gives you the idea. Okay, so you can figure out where your hood is located and adjust it as necessary. We did pretty well with the refrigerator height. I guess my math worked there as well, which is good. I passed. And now that we have something drawn here that looks quite finished, actually, we're going to add in a couple lights into the drawing just to enhance the appearance of it. I think we had some pot lights in here that's giving us some of the light. What you want to try to achieve with soft plan is that you're drawing with very minimal ambient light. You want to work with the light sources, because the reality is we get light through our windows, and then we have lights in our ceilings and on our tables. We don't have just this constant light around us. So you want to work with the light sources as best you can. So if I go to electrical now, I can go to electrical symbols, and I'm going to go to ceiling lights, and we can go into Soft Plan Plus. You can look for any number of different styles that suit you. You can go in and just search on pendant for all it matters. If I'm not too sure, I can come in here and I can just look at pendants. And Wayfair is one of the libraries that we are currently adding quite a bit of content from, because they really are a leader right now in the interior design realm, whether it's furniture or fixtures. Wayfair has just about everything you want. And if you just go to Google Warehouse, which are SketchUp files, and you just download the SKPs, you can go through the wizard, and we could help you if you need to import some of these symbols, but that's where this stuff came from, and it's awesome. It's an awesome library of symbols. So the one I'm going to use is Schuler. See if I can find it. Should be down. I didn't go down far enough. Okay. And I'm going to drop one of them in, first of all. Now I've got my snap still on, so it gives you an idea of where you're at. And it's going to ask me, do I want to turn the visibility of electrical on? Yes, I do, because right now I've just got the visibility of electrical turned off. So I draw one usually, and then I go to move, and I go to copy, and I drop it, and I can set the exact distance at that point, and I'm going to say make it 2 of those. Okay, and it drops those ones in, and then I do the same thing in this direction, and I say 2 feet, and I say give me 2 of those as well, and pick OK. All right, and let's take a look and see what we got. So they look pretty nice. Just they add a lot to it. They will actually add light to the model as well. So as you can see, we're almost complete. We've got quite the design drawn in here. And the stuff's all fitting together as we'd like it to. You can also come in and you can add in some interior decor to the countertops, some dishes, that sort of stuff. You can also come into your cabinets, for instance. And when you're in the wall cabinets, you can actually add shelving right into them. If they're glass cabinets, you can have it so that it shows the number of shelves in there as you'd like them to. And then you can actually, draw stuff. It'll initially draw on the countertop, and then you just move it up until it sits on the shelves. Unless you actually know the exact offset, that's the best method. That's what I generally do, is I just draw them, let them sit underneath the counter, and then move them up into place. All right. But there's a full list of when you're drawing in your interiors. You can come in here and you can go to decor, and you're going to find all kinds of different things in here that will help you to complete your interior as you like. So I think a lot of the dishware you'll find right here. So I can come in here and I can drop a coffee mug on the countertop. Now you're going to say that it's a little bright right now. So what you'll find is that when we drew these lights in, they might be a little bit on the bright side. I'm just going to turn my snap off there. It's a F11 key, and it's easy to turn off. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to edit this symbol. Now the light sources are embedded right in the light source, right in the symbols themselves. So if you come into a symbol that has a little light symbol on it, a little yellow guy, you can come in here and you can go to custom, and you can drop the intensity of these down quite a bit. You can increase the decay. You can even change the color to a more warm color if you prefer. So you can go to yellow, and then you can bleach it out to something like that, and I can pick OK. And then I can do a repeat edit on the remaining light sources that are there, which will drop their intensity down and their color slightly as well. All right. And what we see when we come back into 3D is maybe not that noticeable, but it is somewhat noticeable. And then you can come into your mode options, and you can come into your lighting, and you can see my ambient light is already pretty low, but you can see that I can drop it down even more by doing that. And the other thing I wanted to show you today is editing your upper cabinets. We're going to work on the upper cabinets first of all. Come into your accessories, And don't be afraid to go in here and turn on the crown molds. Pick OK on that. Turn on the valance and come down and choose a profile. You can put your own profiles in here as well. I just usually use this simple concave. We also have the ability to add lighting. Here again, this is going to come up really bright originally, and then you can come in, you can dim it down as you need to. But just by putting that in, you can see that the model changed somewhat. I've put under cabinet lighting in, and I've put crown mold lighting in. Okay, I'm going to pick OK on that, and I'm going to do a repeat edit. I'm going to click on this cabinet here and add the same things to it. All right, and you can start to see some life coming to the cabinets themselves. You can add crown molds to these as well. Now, if you wanted to change the actual finishes on these, now right now the crown molds and stuff came in as white. So I can go to the, in here there's a surface copy paste option. So if I want them to match the rest of the cabinets, I simply click on a surface that I want to use and then click on the item that I want it to apply to. So that's a really powerful tool in 3D. And obviously I would have put the crown mold around all the other cabinets as well to finish them off, but in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip past that for today. You're also going to see that I can come in here and I can edit the cabinets themselves, and right now their cabinet style is set to maple light. I can change that to cherry dark, and that will instantly change that cabinet, and I can repeat that change to any of the other cabinets as well. Here again, this can be done very easily in plan with a block repeat edit, that kind of thing. And there, I would obviously go over and do the ones on the other side as well. The one piece I didn't do on our floor plan was add the dishwasher. It's the one appliance that's missing right now. But just like when we added the sinks, if you edit a cabinet, you can actually come in and you can say replace cabinet, and you can pick a dishwasher to fit right in that spot. The nice part is that the countertop continues over top of it and doesn't interfere with it. All right, so I've shown you on your island how to do the waterfall ends. Don't be afraid to go in there and play with the legs and so on that are available. When you're editing cabinets, you can come in here and under accessories, you can pick on legs, you can put in full height legs, you can pick where they go, you can put them on the front, and you can even come in and you can pick from different manufacturers in here as well. So you'll find under manufacturer, I think where the best ones would be. Well, anyway, you can come in here. There's some different corbels and stuff like that that you can put up underneath there. There's different methods that you can use, but this is a quick and easy way to get them drawn in. There it is, Osborne. Okay, so you can come in here and you can go to, there's your corbels and brackets. There's also pilasters, so you can drop in something like this and add that to the face of the cabinet, and you'll see that in 3D as well. So it allows, you can see it right there, but if I didn't have the waterfall cabinet, I could put those in as little brackets to dress that up a little bit. The other thing we can do is we can come back in here and I can easily change this over to a different style. Once I get this all set up the way I want it, I just simply go to File, Material File, Save, and I can call this Dark Cherry. And that way, when I'm with the client, I can come back in and I can say, okay, you want to see dark cherry with a quartz top? Okay, let's pull that up and see what it looks like. And if you want to see something different, then you can come back in, you can edit this, and you can make it a little more modern. You can put different backsplashes in. Armstrong has some really cool pressed metal panels that you can put in the background. You could really modern this up quite easily just by changing your different colors. I can go to painted, for instance. Using the same cabinets, I can change these over very quickly to be white. So I just come right in. I can also go right into my material file and have it change everything globally, but sometimes it's faster just to come in and do it this way. But you can see how that one little change made such a big difference. And you can then come back in and you can edit a surface directly right on the surface, and you can change the colors right on those as well. So if I wanted to change those to a darker color, I can do it right there. And there you go. All right, adding a little bit of furniture in, we'll dress this up. You can go into your different manufacturers' libraries and find everything you need there to put some benches in and so on, so that in the end, you will achieve something similar to that, or something closer to, say, this one here. All right, same layout, different look. All right. So I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you picked up some tips along the way. Once again, my name is Brent, and we are accessible here in Softplan Technical Support, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So if you have any questions or you want clarification on anything that we did cover today, don't be afraid to give us a call, and we would be happy to help you through any of this. Please tune in next week, or I guess in 2 weeks. June 1st, Intro to Softplan will be our Friday fundamentals. Looks to really be a great session for those of you who are new to Softplan, or those of you who have been with Softplan for a little while and just think you may not be catching everything that you could be out of the software. It gives you a chance to see how we want to accomplish things. Not to say that's the only way, but it might just give you a way to get a good start in Softplan and see if you're doing something the slow way, and you might be able to do it a little bit faster, okay? So once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a good session. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I guess it's starting now. We have a long weekend up here in Canada this weekend. I understand yours will be next week. So for those of you enjoying your time off, enjoy your weekend, and we will hope to join you again in a training session or a Friday Fundamentals again soon. Thank you very much.